Hello, and now for a look at the Greek of Acts 18, 1 through 5. So at the end of chapter 15, Paul's second missionary journey in Acts, so-called, begins. He takes Silas with him. Then we get into chapter 16. They stop at the churches of Galatia, pick up Timothy at Lystra. And then in chapter 16, the rest of 16, we get to Philippi. Paul and Silas get kicked out of there. They go on to Thessalonica in chapter 17. They get kicked out of there. They go to Berea. Paul escapes from there. Then he goes to Athens. He preaches a good sermon. And then he leaves Athens. And that's where we meet our apostle at Acts 18, verse 1. After these things, metatauta, this is an expression that appears quite frequently in narratives, or at least significantly. And so it's something worth knowing at metatauta, after these things. Having withdrawn from Athens, I think this is deponent. Well, maybe not. In any case, the form is aorist passive, right? Theta epsilon. Aorist passive participle, nominative masculine singular, from chorizo. So having been withdrawn from Athens, participle, yep. He came to Corinth. Elth is aorist, that's right. N is third person singular, active indicative of some past tense, yes. From Erchomai, verse 2. And having found a certain Jew, Aquila by name, this is a regular construction with names, isn't it? Dative of sphere, is it? Aquila, and or dative of respect, maybe dative of respect, yeah, with respect to name. Having found, the SCO is missing. Letters are missing. So this can't be a present participle. It must be a aorist participle, because heurisco is the word. Aorist active participle, nominative masculine singular. A Pontican by race, from Pontus by region, something like that. I've always found genos and ethnos difficult to distinguish. Ethnos tends to mean more a nation, but again, it'd be wrong to think of them as nations. Gene is more like race, but not race in the way that we're talking about now. I mean, it's more like ethnicity, to be honest, gene. Okay. Recently, prosphatos, having come from Italy. So this is interesting, because remember, Hebrews says those from Italy greet you. Hey. Could be referring to Priscilla and Aquila. So this is a perfect participle. You can see it kind of next to each other. It's irregular. It's from Erchomai. It's the perfect of Erchomai. Alelutha is the perfect fourth principal part of Erchomai. So this is a perfect active participle, accusative masculine singular, having come recently from Italy, and also Priscilla, the wife of him. This is, I think, the only place in Acts where he's mentioned first, and that's, of course, in the introduction. When it comes to what they actually do, when it comes to their actual function in ministry, she's mentioned first. Okay, why had they recently come from Italy? Why? On account of the Claudius to have commanded all the Jews to withdraw from Rome. So this is a causal infinitive clause, dia ta infinitive. The subject, quote unquote, of an infinitive is in the accusative case, so the Emperor Claudius, who reigned from 41 to 54, is that somewhere in there? This is a perfect active participle. You see the I, 6 of the 7 infinitive endings are I. And the ni helps, ni, so awfully sounds infinitive to me. We have a little bit of reduplication, so this is a perfect active infinitive from diatasso, to command. So on account of the Claudius to command all the Jews, quote unquote, subject of this infinitive, choridzesthai. So again, this is a present middle infinitive. So I talk about this in the podcast, so I won't here. He went to them. Paul went to Priscilla and Aquila. Elf is Arist of Vercami. Okay. And on account of to be, so another causal infinitive construction, diata infinitive, on account of them to be the same trade, homo technon. Homo means same, technon means art or kind. So on account of them being, I'm adding the them to make sense of it, on account of them being of like trade, he was remaining with them and was working. So it sounds like they got there first. So I would say we would date Paul's arrival in Corinth to about the year 50, and the expulsion under Claudius was about 49. So the chronology works well. Okay. Why did he do that? These seem to be imperfect tenses. This is definitely imperfect. This I'm going to, yes, this is definitely imperfect as well, because it would have internal lengthening to an iota if it was aorist. Okay. So he began to remain with them and was working with them. For they were tent makers by trade. So they have the same business that he's from. They're tent makers. Okay. Verse 4, techne. We get the word technical from that. And he was dialoguing in the synagogue, imperfect of dialego, imperfect, yeah, according to every Sabbath. So every Sabbath he was doing it. And he was persuading Jews and Greeks, imperfect of patho. Patho has a irregular aorist. What is it? I think it goes to an, does it go to epithon? I'm thinking that's what it is. I may be misremembering it. But anyway, this is the imperfect because patho, all the letters of the present stem are there with an augment. Verse 5, new paragraph. Maybe. At least that's the way the Greek text I'm drawing on divides it. And as both the Silas and the Timothy came down from Macedonia. Now this is slightly different from 1 Thessalonians, where it seems to be only Timothy that goes back to Thessalonica. This is elf, so it's aorist, right? Aorist active indicative third plural. Okay, the accent here is because Ted doesn't have one. So this is really just ho, the article, like this, but it's taken an extra accent because the freeloader te. Okay, Paul was holding fast to the word. He was occupied with the word. Again, this is the imperfect of suneko. The imperfect of echo is irregular. It does epsilon iota, acon. Okay, being witnessed or witnessing to the Jews that Jesus is the Christ, or Jesus to be the Christ is literally, because this is an infinitive, present infinitive of me, and this is a present deponent participle, dia marturamai. I think it's, if not, it will say it's present middle participle, witnessing. Okay, well, pretty quick today because these we have a shorter number of verses and some interesting causal infinitive constructions. Call those infinitives of cause. They're adverbial uses of infinitives. Are they adverbial? Well, no, I guess they're not in a way because the infinitive has the article. Okay, well, it's an infinitive of cause. Well, we'll see you tomorrow if the Lord allows.